Being a midwife is probably the best job in the world because you share with women such an amazing journey. You take them from being a woman to being a mother, and I think that's the biggest leap any lady can take.
First embryo, we got a positive test, which was amazing. About 2 weeks later, I started getting pains and started bleeding. And it was 3 weeks later that I had a miscarriage. Oh my God.
What?
My stomach has been going proper mental. We tried again a few months later. We got another positive test, but then on the 14th day, I started bleeding, and that was another miscarriage. See that then?
Yeah.
Don't you start being naughty again, child. I swear you'll be grounded till your 18th birthday. The next year, we tried again, but that time it took 2 embryos out of the 3 that we had left. I felt like giving up constantly, but every time I saw a baby on the street, I saw a pregnant woman, I saw something on the telly, I saw a pram I liked, I knew that I'd never ever feel fulfilled until I could finally say I was a mum. Some people can get pregnant in a heartbeat, and some people become parents in a heartbeat. For us, we didn't. I was a mess. As soon as the bump appeared, it was very difficult to manage my expectations. We'd had our hopes up so many times and had them dashed so many times. We thought, if this ends badly, then it's going to completely destroy us.
Being a midwife and having a miscarriage, I can't say it prepared me for it because I wasn't expecting it. You're never expecting it, but I was well aware of how common it is. I knew things weren't going right, so in that respect it helped me because I prepared Steve for it, and I was, and he was very much, oh, you don't know, and just be positive, and the heartbeat was strong, but I knew the signs were there.
All right, you're doing
okay, sweetheart.
You're fine.
All right, okay. All right.
I think most women suffer more psychologically and emotionally than physically. For me, it was the other way around, though. I think whether it's because they thought it was twins, it took a bit longer to come away.
Oh, come on, you're doing brilliant.
Fantastic.
I was back and forth to the hospital a few times getting checked because things were getting a bit difficult.
Have you got them both? Which one's that on? Two. This is 2. So turn 2 down. Turn 1 up. There's a difference there, isn't there? Yeah.
Pull up a chair, Steve, and sit down.
After the miscarriage, it was just a case of like, OK, let's get you right. OK. I just wanted to make sure if she needed anything, if she just said, can I just have a cuddle, then I'd give her a cuddle. You're doing really well, babe.
We just thought, well, that was that, we'll just carry on as normal. And extremely lucky, a few weeks later, I found out I was pregnant again with twins. So, we thought we'd swerve that one. We thought, oh, well, not meant to be. We weren't meant to have twins, and obviously we were.
Most women who you meet have a birth plan, but sometimes with the best will in the world, it just sometimes doesn't work out that way. Unfortunately, it is an unmanageable beast. I was 31 weeks pregnant. I'd just lost my dad to cancer, within the same year. And they sat me down in this office and basically told me that I'd got cancer. Everything changed in that moment.
So I can imagine, at that point in your pregnancy, you don't expect anything like that.
No, it wasn't nice. I look at women in more complicated situations than mine, and women with more life-threatening situations than mine, and think, goodness me, I'm so lucky.
It was thyroid.
Was it?
So it was very straightforward.
Yeah, great. So they just took it. Did they just take it all away, or what did they do?
I had a full thyroidectomy when she was 3 months old, and a left neck dissection because it was in my lymph nodes.
Right.
And then radioiodine when she was 6 months.
Oh, okay.
I achieved breastfeeding, and I achieved a healthy baby, and I achieved a healthy outcome at the end of it all. And there are so many women out there that don't get that. We're very lucky. We're hugely lucky.
But no, that's sad.
Yeah,
Did it ruin your pregnancy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ruined the first year of her life. It was horrific.
I do draw in it. I have a level of compassion that I didn't have before. Even if you don't tell them, just knowing in the back of your brain that, oh yeah, that's really hard, that's really horrible. I know that because I've been through, you know, what I've been through. It does help.
When I was 9 years old, I was diagnosed with leukemia. So I went through, it was quite a rare form of leukemia, so I went through 3 years of treatment.
That must have been a really tough time for you. Oh gosh, I can imagine that it was just really difficult.
I know.
Really, really
she was
difficult.
9 at the time. I know. In the beginning, we didn't tell her how bad it was. Because as a 9-year-old, you don't really know what cancer means.
I can't imagine it.
I know.
Brave people. I mean, there's nothing you can do but live through it and just deal with it when it's happening.
I think the worst part when Sammy lost her hair, she wore a little hat for 2 years, I think it was. And she would not go anywhere without the hat. And it was hard for her as a little girl. The fear is still sometimes there, isn't it, about it or not? Maybe more me.
In you.
Because you lived it, in a way, a 9-year-old, you're kind of a bit oblivious in a way, aren't you?
I didn't know how serious it was.
You know, less aware of the consequences, potentially.
Of the outcome, really, as well, of
absolutely.
what could happen.
That's a good thing, though. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, you need that as a child. You've still got to be a kid at the end of the day,
I think when you go through illness like leukemia, because of all the cruel treatment, really, the childhood sort of like stops somehow.
But I'll be back in 2 minutes, guys, okay?
Thank you.
I was told probably around 13 that there was a possibility that with some of the drugs that they've used that I might not be able to have children. I do remember that though, even though when you're young you think, oh, that's fine, I don't want any. But I remember that it was quite hard to hear.
Hey, calm yourself. Fine. I'm panicking now, I can see it.
I know.
Just calm yourself a bit.
When I met Tony, I was quite honest with him and said I may not be able to have children.
Look like you're getting nervous now.
I know.
You'll be all right.
Tony was, from the off, always really, really supportive.
She was always open with it, that there might be a tough road ahead. Hey, you'll be fine. Just calm yourself. Just chill out for a bit. What's the matter? Huh?
I don't know. It's always mixed emotions.
It's hormones.
Happy and sad.
I can't cope with these hormones.
She don't look like it, does she? I've hit my wall. She's a perfect face.
Not moving.
Yeah, I've hit my wall.
I'm a single parent, and when I started my training to be a midwife, my daughters were all in junior school. So it was really challenging. I kind of look back now and wonder how on earth I'd done it. But you're kind of like a bit of a hamster on a wheel, and you just get it done.
Do you get it done there?
No Botox.
Fillers? Why? Because she wanted to. I'm going to have everywhere.
Working as a midwife, if you have any problems or issues going on in your home life, they have to be left at the door. They have to be. And I think for me, when I get ready of a morning, maybe putting my makeup on, that's a step for me to do that. The shift ahead is about your patients. It's about the woman and her family, and it doesn't involve what's going on in your life. I always kind of look the same in work, but of course, my mood's not always the same. You know, I have challenges like anybody else, but probably difficult to tell. I am quite good at having a bit of a poker face, and you can't really read me or what's going on. A few years ago, Rio, my daughter, had some pains in her knees, and she got diagnosed with tumours in her leg. And I can remember the day first hearing those words. I felt like my world had just fell apart. So then as Rio was coming towards the end of her treatment, my eldest daughter, she come home from school that day and her face had really swelled on one side.
How's your daughter, love?
She's all right. She's
her all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a lot better.
Why has she not been well?
No, she's Eden's got a tumour in her face, hasn't she? It was just, I felt like I was just living in a nightmare. Again, it was a child with a tumour and I was just in shock. I don't know whether that's when I hit me rock bottom. I think that night I run out of tears, if that's possible.
So they got it all out. Is that the second attempt?
Third.
Did they have to cut into?
Like inside, so they hooked them out up and then they went in like that.
Right.
So it sounds painful, not on the skin.
Oh, I didn't know she'd had it done.
Yeah. The two of them being ill, I still managed to keep things going. You cope because you have to. Although inside I felt I was dying and I was so worried. On the outside, I kept a brave face and was quite positive, thinking everything is going to be okay. Since my daughters have been unwell, things that you once thought were important are not. We were always a little bit fanatical, me and the girls, about keeping the house spotlessly clean and just being super organised. And you just, especially when you're working all the time, you just realise life's too short. Both girls are really good. They're really good now. They're back to their old, robbing all my clothes, robbing all my makeup, all my shoes. See you soon, love. It's fair to say things are back to normal.
With diaphragmatic hernia, the survival rate that's quoted is usually about 50%, but that doesn't take into account the fact that some are on the right side, which dramatically lowers the survival rate. And now she knows that while that baby's inside her, that baby's alive, and she's relinquishing that. And she just wants to hold on to that pregnancy for as long as she can. It's a very sombre time. It's just exactly the opposite of what you would expect for a healthy baby being born. Delivery Suite, as much as it is a place of joy and happiness and new life coming into the world, we also have to deal with that sad time. We don't enjoy it. But I get just as much satisfaction in helping a woman give birth and having a fantastic experience as I do from helping a woman through the most horrific experience she will ever go through in her life.
All right, just calm down. You've gone from being a student where you've got your mentor to fall back on, but being a newly qualified, you're expected to know it. And you think, oh my God, this is terrifying. Baby's heart rate dipped a little bit. Every time the baby's heartbeat dips, your heart's pounding and you can't wait for for baby's heartbeat to come back up again.
I'll be okay. I just want him to be all right. That's gonna be fine.
Monitoring baby's heartbeat during labour is the only way that we can make sure that that baby's okay at that moment in time. Being a midwife is probably the best job in the world because you share with women such an amazing journey. You take them from being a woman to being a mother, and I think that's the biggest leap any lady can take. Women bring into the labour room with them their whole history, because their history is what makes them who they are. So I think that has a massive impact on the way they cope with their labour and the strength that it gives them.
It's coming lower and lower and lower, okay?
When you look after someone in labour, you invest so much time emotionally yourself because it's almost as if you're having to give them a little bit of you because, they've gone past any strength that they've got left. Physically, they're absolutely spent. There's so much negative publicity about babies that are back-to-back. And for women to be told that their baby's back-to-back, it's sometimes for them means I have to have an epidural. I'm not going to cope. They're awful labours.
Come on. Chin on chest.
That's the one.
Come on, grit your teeth right down into your bottom. Grit your teeth hard as you can.
You've got to focus them in on the positive aspect of things, that they are doing it, that they've got to keep going.
No one can do this for you. You're the only person that can do this now, okay?
When I look after someone, I 100% believe that they can have a normal birth. And when it gets so close, and I just think, oh my God, 10 more minutes, this baby's out, 10 more minutes. And then to have a woman say, I'm not doing it, I can't do it. It's it's just the most frustrating thing, and, you know, that's usually when I resort to begging.
We weren't planning to have children straight away. We wanted to give it a little time and focus on our careers. And then we thought of planning a child, and we tried for some time, and it did not work out. So we had 2 rounds of IVF cycles, which again were unsuccessful. So this expert did a few tests and looked at the reports and said, it's not going to happen, you might need a donor. Egg donor. So we got back home, and in just a couple of days we got to know that she was pregnant already when we went to see the expert.
Oh, I never thought it would be so easy. Beautiful baby.
When someone's been with us for a long time and everybody knows them, and all the different midwives will either have looked after this couple or they'll certainly know of them. When the baby finally comes, it's definitely like a celebration. Everyone knows that this baby's finally been born and this couple have finally got their family, and it's a really lovely feeling.
My gorgeous little daughter.
Oh, your daughter. My daughter.
When it became legal to marry and it became legal to go in for IVF and insemination, I begged and begged and begged him to. I lost a lot of weight to go through the treatment. I was a size 20, 22 and went all the way down to a size 14 and stopped smoking in order to get pregnant. So it was a lot of hard work. Wanted to get me set up with a female. They arranged for me and Janet to meet. Like I say, it was never meant to be anything at all, really. And it just went from there. We became friends, and then sometime after we got together, didn't we? I was straight, but there was something about women as well. But then you just try things out, don't you?
We've got a baby. Long time coming.
We decided Vicky's going to be called Mummy and I'm going to be Mummy J. Beautiful. She's beautiful. She's going to be my daughter as well as Vicky's, and we're going to be 2 mums, and we're both going to be great mums, and she's going to have a fantastic life. You are gorgeous.
I just hope that she's going to be happy in life and healthy.
James and I thought it was going to be a struggle for me to get pregnant. I've got polycystic ovaries and I'd not had a period for several years, so my GP and a lot of my colleagues had told me that I may well struggle. But we didn't actively try until after the wedding, so actually it only took us 3 months with a natural conception, so we did very, very well. I was very lucky.
If Mum's waters break, she would normally have a pad on, and we would check to see what colour the waters are. And we would want them to be clear or a very, very pale yellow. If the baby's had a poo, so the baby's past meconium, then the colour of the waters would then be brown or green.
And they'll start booing.
Oh, don't worry, let's take it as it comes.
Now, if they were to breathe that in for any reason, then that could damage their lungs and cause a lot of problems for them. And we don't want that to happen, so we monitor the babies on the heart rate trace.
There goes my water birth.
Don't worry, yeah.
There's some monitors that are actually underwater, so you could actually use the pool, but they're very expensive, and it's the NHS that we work in, so.
Hold on.
Little tinker. Don't worry. You're about 2 to 3. Can I give you a good stretch?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry.
Well done, darling.
Absolutely gutted.
I know you are, darling, but we'll just have to forget about it.
Yeah.
Part of the midwife's job is majorly psychological, and that's where you really have to work with them. You've got to keep them focused. Women are strong. We have babies because we're the stronger sex. If a man went through labour, he'd tell you every single contraction that he was having a contraction, just in case you didn't know. Whereas a woman is far more likely to just get on with pain and just to find a way of coping and deal with it.
They're sore. They're worse than I imagined.
I was going to say, what's it like? How...
You just can't imagine it.
Yeah. Do you ever get period pains?
Yeah.
Is it way worse than that? Yeah.
I don't think it's anything like it.
Yeah. Because I always think, oh, I wonder what my period pains are like in comparison to contractions.
Deep breaths.
All your theory goes. You just, I don't know, it's hard to think, oh, what should I be doing?
Yeah. I wonder who you are.
I know.
Can you believe the time is here?
I know, it's unbelievable.
I know.
It definitely is, isn't it? I'm in labour.
I'm not dreaming now.
I really want to be able to experience it and feel it. And I've looked after a lot of women that have had epidurals and have had lovely births. But for me, I want to feel the pain. I really want to kind of see if it's going to make me a better, hopefully, midwife.
So I said you can put her in the pool until she establishes, because we wouldn't put her in a continuous CTG.
And where do we draw the line at letting her potter?
Okay. Just think exactly the same as you would do on the
6
ward.
hours.
So, well, say 4 hours after,
Yeah.
and that should give her plenty of time.
Bless her.
If I've had a long day at work, I come in and have a bath. It's not for everyone, water's not for everyone, but for me it's how I relax. I often get asked if I've had children, and I have to admit I've told the odd white lie, and I've said, yes, I've done this. And then afterwards I have confessed. I'm not saying that you have to have had children to be a good midwife.
Try not to panic.
You can do it, darling.
Come on, Charlotte, you can do it.
I think that to experience the pain and to be able to associate with that woman, it must help.
Although Charlotte is a professional midwife and practices every day looking after women and knows the ins and outs of labour, at the end of the day, she's a woman that's not laboured before.
Me? I was joking.
I was excited to look after them, but I didn't really realise how much emotion it would bring to myself.
I think I thought I would know everything about labour, being a midwife, but actually when it came to it, I didn't have a clue. I just had to go with the flow and put my uttermost trust in Juliet and James. Oh dear. Oh, right. She did amazing. She did
It was weird, wasn't it? Literally like fully rotated as it was delivering. So it's got a big lump on the side of its head. Her head. To be able to share that experience and to watch them as a little family at the end of the bed. Ooh, I'm getting emotional now. Ooh. I cried all the way home afterwards.
It's gone down a bit already.
Yeah, we go down close.
Hello.
We'll put your little hat on and we won't notice.
Nice long fingers.
I didn't know much about pre-eclampsia. I didn't know what caused it, if you could get rid of it, you know, how it affected the baby. I just knew it was dangerous.
Pre-eclampsia is a condition that affects pregnant women, and initially the first symptoms really are high blood pressure. They get very, very puffy, and also they'll probably start to produce a bit of protein in their urine. It can cause swelling on the brain, in which case you may go on to develop a potentially lethal problem called eclampsia. Then the only way to cure it is to deliver the baby in placenta.
You need to tell me if it's a girl or a boy.
We got told it's coming early, then we got told it's 10 days. And then
on this. 24 hour. How long have we got left to wait?
The consultant is on his way in from home.
Yeah.
So he'll be there to make sure that your baby's looked after properly and it's born.
Going home, outfit's not going to fit it.
I know.
It's going to be massive.
With babies, especially if babies are very, very premature, around the 30-week mark, you would want the entire neonatal team there. Nurses, doctors, senior doctors. They need a lot of hands to be able to do what needs to be done.
Even though we're there, like, all through the day, it still feels like we're missing out on a lot because he's not with us every minute a day. And that's what normal parenthood is.
No, wait, no.
Haven't we? We've got a dirty nappy. I'll do it. Yeah, we bath him and we change him and we're dressing him ourselves and we're doing everything like that, but we don't get to bring him home and have him in our environment and have him at our home.
How low is it?
8
It's going low.
If you've spoken to women that have got babies on special care, they talk about this roller coaster. One minute their baby's doing really well and they're just over the moon, and then the next minute they get told they've got a really bad infection, they might not make it through the night, and then the next day, yeah, all fine, baby's rallied. The misconception that a lot of people have about premature babies, they just weigh a lot less. They don't realise the difficulty that these babies have with all their organs, you know, not just their lungs and their weight, but their gut, their hearts, everything is so much more underformed.
Billy didn't want to talk today because every time she mentions his name, she breaks down. She'll get upset. Everything will come out. Everything that she's stored in there will just burst out. We come in and we said to them, he doesn't seem himself. We could hear him wheezing a bit. We actually noticed it every time we touched him, moved the blanket, lifted him, or tried to wash him, or even just the slightest bit of noise, not a loud noise, he'd cry. They've x-rayed his lungs and they found quite a severe chest infection. They've immediately reacted with antibiotics and he's been on them for 5 days and they only should be on them for 2 to 3. There were one day we come in and they actually had to use a face mask, which is like a resuscitator, where they hand pump it. They had to use that on him. You still got him?
Billy's not coped that well. I mean, she's not eating properly. She's sort of down in dumps all the time. She don't want to do anything. All she wants to do is come here. All she goes on about is him, which it might sound bad, but that's 24/7. There's not any, I mean, everybody needs a bit of a time to escape, an hour to forget it. Not forget him, but forget the whole situation. And she just does not let herself do that. We're here all day, and I go in there for her. We was just talking, and Billy turned around to me and just out of the blue just said, "What do you think his survival chances are?" So that sort of hit home on me, thinking, why are you thinking that? Because to me, he's 100%. I think he's going to be fine. I really do. Honestly believe there's going to be nothing wrong with him. And we're going to look back and give him a good kicking when he's a bit older. But tell him, you know, teach him a lesson. But she turned around to me and said that, and it was a bit of a shock. And I asked her what she meant, and Billy said, "I don't think he's going to be right. I think everything's going to be wrong with him."
What's wrong with you? I lost your dream.
Hello. A clever boy. Oh, yeah.
Hello.
You've got to accept that
each labour's different, so you approach each labour as a new labour. And that's people with the first labour, the second labour, that this is brand new, and you've got to take that as is what is happening now. I always say to women, think about what's happening now, not what has happened, what is going to happen. Think about now.